Yes, it's the news segment, the Renegade Rundown, and we're going to talk about some Renegade football. As stated earlier, Rob, the number one biggest, weakest link of the Renegades has been in the last 3 years, even when they won the championship, their offensive line. It has been garbage. They always finish in this later half of the rankings when it comes to stopping the run. And I blame that on offensive line. I'm not a running back guy with that. If your offensive line doesn't do well, I don't care if you have Derrick Henry back there. He's not going to be able to get yards if he's having to deal with contact in the backfield every single play.
Yeah.
And the other thing was they allow a lot of sacks. Now, you just mentioned it. Part of the problem is immobile Luis Perez. That's not his strong suit. He's pretty good at manipulating the pocket, but man, if the man can't move, he can get taken down pretty quickly. And they've allowed 60 sacks in the last 3 years, which is just worse in the league by far. And they cannot continue that trend if they want to get above 5-5. So a lot of people were freaking out because of that. Because one of the cuts that they made, two of the cuts they made was Abdul Bigum and Jake Burton in the offensive guard spot. And
were they starters last year?
No, they were signed on. And the weird thing about Abdul is the fact that he isn't that good. Another shout out to UFL fans, by the way. They know players better than anyone out there. They follow these players up from high school all the way up to college, and they know what's going on. I look at it from the outside, and I don't understand the freak out when it comes to Abdul Beacom. I don't get it. He started 2 games for the Battlehawks in 2024 and then had a season-ending injury in 2025. And in my mind, he's clearly not even starting material. 2 games in the last 2 years. It sounds like his injury, it was a hand injury. It's just not working out for him, and he's probably looking more towards retirement. But for some odd reason, a lot of Renegade fans were really upset with that cut.
It doesn't sound like you're too upset with that cut, though, and I trust your takes.
Yeah, I'll go with that one. Now, I'm not too worried about this one, but this is the interesting one. They also cut Jake Burton. Now, this one's different. He was a veteran player for the Michigan Panthers for the 2024-25 season, even made the UFL All-Pro team last year, okay? So he's a star-studded guard that got signed on by Neuheisel, and he ended up joining the team, and he didn't make the cut line, and we ended up cutting him. I think this is a good thing, though, because in the draft they addressed it, and we'll get to who they picked up instead. But another thing about Jake Burton, again, a lot of fans are upset about it, but Jake Burton tried to retire from football in August of last year. So to me,
well, it sounds like his heart's not in it.
Exactly. Like, I just don't feel like his heart's going to be in the game, and you end up having to cut the guy. I think it makes perfect sense, especially since you pick up a guy like Keaton Sutherland. And Rob, you're a big Texas fan, so you understand SEC football. He was drafted in the first round, came straight from Texas A&M, and was an offensive guard in Texas A&M in SEC football. This is his first year in professional sports, and he's the one that's going to end up taking the spot over those two. And
sounds
more
like
people were paying. I think it's a great decision. What conference can bring the closest to professional action than the SEC when it comes to defensive linemen?
SEC and then the Big Ten's right there too. But SEC is a little bit ahead on the defensive side.
Yeah, by far, or not by far. You're right. Big Ten's actually pretty good too. And the fact that we're bringing them on, coming straight from Texas A&M, I think that's going to be a great pickup and an improvement. So for all the Renegade fans that are freaking out about the offensive line, at least when it comes to the offensive guard position, yes, Jake Burton was a veteran. He looked really good. You really wanted him on the team, but 1, we drafted Keaton Sutherland, and 2, why not? I mean, I'll give him a shot over a veteran, especially if he's coming out as a rookie and played in the SEC. I like it a lot. The other one is Marcus Minor. He's the other one that made the team. He's a veteran. He's been there for the last 2 years, and he's only allowed 1 sack in 2025. So
that's good numbers.
Good numbers. So, did I convince you, Rob? Do you think we improved in the guard position?
Yes, that was pretty simple. Why take old broken down people when you can take young people that have good stats and want to showcase the jump to the next level? That's what this league should be for.
Exactly. And he's just trying to get back into the league. Keaton Sutherland. I get people freaking out about Jake Burton being cut, but I think we're in good shape, guys. Let's relax. I think I'll tell you one thing, whoever we dish out there, as long as they're different, the bar is really low for this offensive line. It does not take much to improve it. And if this offensive line gets to at least mediocre, this could be a serious contending team because they don't have that many weak links outside of that. They've got great skill positions. Their defense is really set. They got a great secondary. I expect that this team's going to perform really well. They just got to get their offensive line fixed.
I mean, I know a few teams that are like that would like to have their offensive line get fixed on multiple levels of the sport. You can't win without a solid and top tier offensive line in any league that you play. So it sounds like under Neuheisel, they're making good decisions already. So I like it.
Yeah, and I was thinking about you when I was making this, trying to do some research on who these players are, and I thought about you. I was like, if anyone gets good offensive line play and would want it really bad, the Boston Patriots fan would understand how important an offensive line can perform for your offense and make it much better.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, and yeah, so that's important right there. All right. That is huge. So offensive line, better. I'm on it. What else we got with this Renegade Rundown? Anything else jump out to you?
The only other thing that jumped out to me is just because I'm a Cowboys fan. This is Peyton Hendershot. And if you remember, one of the players that they ended up cutting was Sal Cannella. Sal Cannella had 44 receptions, 474 yards, and just 1 touchdown, which is actually really shocking because he feels like he made a lot of big plays out there. He is one of Luis Perez's biggest targets out there, and he ended up going to the NFL. And so when I saw that they were actually bringing on Peyton Hendershot, an ex-Cowboy, I thought he was going to make the cut and be a part of the team, and he didn't. They ended up cutting him pretty quickly. It blows my mind. I mean, for the Dallas Cowboys, he was a third string tight end. Okay, so keep that in mind when I say these stats. He had 15 receptions, 141 yards.
He was a Cowboy.
And 2 touchdowns. Exactly. And I'm thinking, you're a third string Cowboy and one of Dak's targets. Also a blocking tight end, drafted as a blocking tight end. So he wasn't meant to be a receiving one, but he looked like he improved tremendously in that position with Dak Prescott. We ended up cutting him. He got picked up by the Giants. Then he moved over to Kansas City. And Kansas City ended up letting him go. And that's what gives him the opportunity to join this team. And Peyton Hendershot didn't make the team. And I was a little stunned by that. And ex-NFL player, I thought he would be able to make it. And it looks like Sal Cannella's replacement is going to be Seth Green, who was the backup last year. And he did fine. He had 13 receptions, 150 yards, and he also got a touchdown pass himself. But I am a little concerned because Sal Cannella was an impact player for the Renegades last year, and losing him, I just feel like we didn't really replace the tight end position too much. So it's a little nerve-wracking on the tight end position, and I thought Hendershot could fill in that gap. Didn't look like he filled that gap, so looks like the Renegades are going to have to go with Seth Green, and hopefully it works out for him.
Yeah, no, and I think it will. Neuheisel, I mean, he's a smart coach. He's got some good people around him. I think it's very important that fans be excited that the Dallas, not Arlington Renegades, are taking a fresh approach to this. Honestly, I don't know how much effort Bob Stoops truly put in outside of showing up to practice, showing up to games, and saying, all right, let's call stuff. Neuheisel, I think, will put in a little bit more effort. He's going to want to win. because who knows, maybe it showcases him to get something else, or if not, he's also a little older. He's also happy to just collect a paycheck, but also produce a winner. So I think these are all good things, and I'm excited for week 1.
Yeah, I am too. And I'll tell you what, that offensive line is going to get a big test next week too, because the Houston Gamblers have a great front seven, and it's going to be a big test for them early on to see if they can protect Luis Perez. So not much else is going on with the Renegades. Obviously, I can't wait till week 1. We'll definitely get the week 1 reaction in the Renegade Rundown next week. But there is more going on in the UFL, Rob.
Yes, there is.
All right.
There is. We're going to hit some Homer headlines.
Yeah, let's hit some Homer headlines.